Good day, friends. I hope you're doing really well. And I wanted to share with you this really neat couple of days I've just had because I'm working on this kind of guided community kind of setting where we kind of work through some health goals without it being diety and really just focused on very holistic and very much on going at the pace that our systems can go, making health changes or making, doing food and nutrition and all kinds of other health changes. Once we've gotten to the place where I'm not trying to purposely lose weight. I just want to feel better in my body. And so I'm working on this course and it makes you, it's great because it makes you kind of reassess what you think you know about nutrition and how food works and the biochemistry of things and how energy gets produced and used and what happens under trauma circumstances and inflammatory stuff and all that. It's been great because of course I'm learning some new stuff, but also validating some stuff that I wasn't sure if it was still relevant. I mean, it is. It's been great. So anyway, that was what struck me to ask this question online yesterday is where do we come to believe some stuff that we think we believe about food nutrition, and where do we come to, especially this really specific question around where did you come to believe that certain foods inherently can just make you magically gain weight? And actually I didn't even respond to anybody's post yet. I didn't do a video on Monday. This is Tuesday. I'm doing this video. Usually I do my videos on Monday. I felt like I needed some time for the heaviness and gravity to kind of get process and land of what I heard from people. Because it's really, really just heartbreaking. The fact that our body trust is robbed by the very people that are really supposed to be protecting us. Because everyone's answer, I won't say everyone, but 9 out of 10 is as a percentage here. Their beliefs about food nutrition came from sources that are supposed to be protected, like authority figures. So we're talking parents, PE teachers, coaches, pediatricians, professors in school. So in those dynamics, all those places, are places where we're more than likely in a power dynamic of above and below. So somebody above us has more power and authority and is telling us something about our bodies, that because we're in a younger, more vulnerable, and our brains aren't developed enough to be able to say, are you sure about that? Tell me how that works exactly. What are the facts about that? We just don't question it. We take it in. And then when we're doing it wrong, we blame ourselves versus maybe blame the source of the information, which happens to be the authorities who have some, when I say authority, not police, but food police in people's brains that gets projected onto us. And this is why it was so, and I know these things. I've been doing this 20 years. Professionally, I recovered from my own eating disorder prior to that. So it's same thing happened to me, of course. I learned fat prejudice and I learned good food, bad food, and calories in, calories out. From the bigger people, the authorities, the older people around me. And I just well, that's just the way it is, I guess. And I'll do that so that, I'm good. And it's not the whole reason I developed an eating disorder, but it's partially because of the people around me. And so we have to think, one, I think we all have a lot of, reckoning inside of ourselves to do to be able to let that go. There's probably some people we need to forgive from being ignorant and not knowing better. There's probably some people we need to forgive that maybe did know better, like let's say marketing, and did it just to make a buck and, to be influential from a power perspective. And then there's a bigger systems that keep pumping out this information when clearly there's no fruit. When I say fruit, meaning there's nothing good that comes from this information. It just destroys people's lives and it makes people not trust their bodies. So I think there's some healing here to happen with this conversation of who told me this? And as the source of that information, was it what did it screw me up, essentially? I mean, not forever. We're not a victim forever. Once we know better, that's over. I mean, were we deceived earlier when we were vulnerable? Totally. That's not your fault. But now that we're older and we recognize, oh gosh, like health and nutrition is so much more complicated and nuanced than just calories in, calories out, or carbs make you gain weight, or fat makes you gain weight, or all these other things. There's so much more nuance to it. And I say this because, one, I have my own lived experience of, when I started eating all the food and eating from hunger and fullness and getting repleted, it ended the cycle of like deprivation eating and binging. My food was way more balanced when I just let all foods be and let my body lead the way. When there's been times when my body couldn't lead the way because it was under a significant amount of stress for whatever reason. Yes, I had to do some like little bit of nutrition information, but it was still based on trusting my body to get to a more stable place, as well as that sometimes we do have to make health and nutrition changes and we don't love it, but it's not because our body's against us. It's because it's struggling under the weight of like probably years and years of a lot of dysregulation. And the more we focus on getting our internal environment safe again, you would be surprised by how much more flexibility with our eating we can have. But that is a process, and we have to be willing to go through the messiness of that. So there's so much nuance to all this. So when we are still like good food, bad food in our heads, or magical weight gain food kind of stuff, I need you to question, like, where did I get that? Under what circumstances could any of that actually even be true? Is it true short term, long term, not even true at all? Is there any nuance to this? And who taught me that? And what was the agenda? Now, some people's agendas are just trying to maybe keep you from being rejected or criticized like maybe they experienced. So they're projecting their histories on you. Some people, that's just like the education they have, and they haven't questioned it, so they just kind of repeat it. So it's really important that we are asking questions about the source of our information. Y'all should check me and the things I say about nervous system health regulation and eating from hunger and fullness. Eating hunger and fullness works great when you're nutritionally, calorically repleted. So that means if you have some imbalances, that's got to be worked on. If you've got some medical conditions, I mean, sometimes that will make it more difficult to hear or have good interoceptive cues and signals. If you've got some kind of other neurologic kind of thing going on that can impact that, it doesn't mean we can't do it. It just means it has to be adjusted. So we have options. It's just that oftentimes, because we're so locked into the old mindset of black and white and all or nothing thinking, we miss out on the subtleties of how you can be more of an authority and expert on your own body than you ever could have imagined. All right. So I just want to say my heart both feels like the weight of what you've probably had to like experience and then struggle through the cognitive dissonance of, but I also have a lot of hope that once you keep pursuing truth, that you're going to find that like, yeah, I don't get so triggered by what everybody else is doing anymore and what other people say. And because the more these internal wounds are healed of feeling like you were taught some things that weren't true on purpose or by mistake, whichever it is, that there can be healing there so that you don't get triggered. All right. And I'll just leave you with this. I don't often talk about client sessions, but I have permission. I just had a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful session with somebody today that has just never had body trust. And she's getting it more and more week by week by week, simply because she's questioning the thoughts in her head. And that is producing so much freedom for her. She's like, well, who told me that? And what would happen if I try this? And really just trusting the process. And she's getting more and more freedom. The food noise is like getting to the place of like, if it happens, it's not like a guiding force and factor, and it's not significant. It's just something that's happening out of lots of times of being repeated, but she knows that it's just more of a default than it is a truth at this point. So pretty neat. And we're early in the process, so I'm excited for her. But that's what's possible when we just start questioning what we were taught, and what does that mean? What is it? If what they have said is wrong, what does that mean about you? What does that mean about the situation? And if you have feelings about that, that would be normal. And you get to start to maybe I want to settle into, if I let myself have permission to eat and let that process lead, you're going to find that all that stuff, you don't even have to fight it anymore. It just becomes irrelevant. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.